Hey everyone, hope you are having a good day. This guide has been put together to help young people grow themselves into someone they can be proud of. I can promise you if you go into this video with the intention of getting value out of it, your time will be worthwhile. We live in a time where most of us are addicted to something, even if we don't want to admit it. It could be scrolling endlessly on TikTok until 3 a.m. It could be gaming every night just to escape from how empty the day felt. It could be relying on energy drinks to feel alive, or even worse, constantly chasing that quick dopamine hit through porn or junk food. These things don't sound scary when you say them out loud because everyone is doing them, but if you actually step back and look at it, you'll realize how much they control you. The problem is not that you play games or watch videos. The problem is that you can't stop yourself when you want to. That's when you know you're hooked. And the scariest part is that we normalize it, like being glued to your phone for 8 hours is just being a degenerate in 2025. The truth is, these addictions are stealing your potential before you even get the chance to use it. Think about how many times you've said, "I'll start tomorrow," and then tomorrow comes and nothing changes. It's because you're not in control anymore, the habits are. Healing yourself starts with facing that honestly. You don't need to wait until you're broken at 25, overweight, unmotivated, and depressed to finally wake up. You can see it right now. Healing is not some magic thing where you light candles and meditate once. It's a messy process where you slowly cut the chains of these addictions one by one. It starts with awareness. Literally just catching yourself mid-scroll and saying, "This is making me weaker," is a step forward. You don't have to delete everything or quit cold turkey, but you do need to build the muscle of self-control. If you can resist small urges now, like putting your phone down for an hour, you're training the same discipline that will help you later when life gets heavier. Healing also means replacing. If you just try to stop without filling the hole, you'll relapse again and again. Replace TikTok with reading, replace late-night gaming with going to the gym or even journaling, replace junk food with learning how to cook something simple. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to get 1% better each day. Healing is not about becoming a saint, it's about becoming someone you actually respect. And that respect only comes when you know you're living with some control, not being a slave to the addictions everyone else laughs off as normal. When you realize how deep your addictions run, the first instinct is to think you need to completely overhaul your life overnight, but that's the exact trap that makes most people fail. Healing doesn't come from trying to be perfect, it comes from small, consistent wins that build into something bigger. Think about how you learned to ride a bike. You didn't start doing tricks on day one, you just tried to not fall. Healing is the same. Start with one habit, the one that drains you the most. Maybe it's mindless scrolling, maybe it's staying up until 4 a.m. on Discord, maybe it's smoking or vaping. Instead of saying, "I'll never do this again," set a realistic challenge. Cut it down, replace it, test your control. For example, if you're glued to your phone all night, set a time to put it across the room before bed and pick up a book instead, even if you only read 2 pages. That's still a win, because you're proving to yourself that you can choose. The first steps of healing aren't about looking impressive, they're about rebuilding your trust with yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and actually do it, you deposit a little bit of respect into your own bank account. And that respect grows into confidence. Another part of healing early on is your environment. If your room is a mess, if your desk is covered in junk food wrappers and empty cans, that chaos feeds into your mind. Clean your room, not because it looks nice for Instagram, but because when you walk into a space that feels clear, your brain feels clearer too. Healing is about making it easier for yourself to win. Don't expect to have perfect discipline in a battlefield full of distractions. Move the battlefield in your favor. Delete apps, put your console in a closet, ask a friend to hold you accountable, whatever it takes to create space for better habits to grow. And most importantly, forgive yourself when you mess up. Everyone relapses, everyone slips back into bad habits, but that doesn't mean you're broken. The difference between the person who heals and the one who stays stuck is that the first one keeps trying. Healing starts messy, but those first ugly steps are the proof that you're serious about taking your life back. Once you've taken those first messy steps and cut down on the habits that controlled you, the real work begins, which is rebuilding yourself into someone you're actually proud of. Healing is not just about quitting addictions, it's about filling your life with the things that make you stronger. You've probably noticed that when you stop doing something destructive, there's suddenly a big empty space in your day, and if you don't fill it, the old habit sneaks right back in. This is where you start building a new version of yourself. One of the most powerful tools is exercise. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, you just need to prove to yourself that you can push through discomfort. Every time you go for a run or hit the gym, you're training your brain to choose growth over comfort. That discipline carries over into every other part of your life. Another pillar is the food you eat. You might not realize how much your mood and energy are tied to what you eat, but once you swap out constant junk food for real meals, you'll feel sharper, more confident, and more alive. Healing is also about rebuilding your attention span. Most of us are so fried from dopamine overload that sitting with a book for 20 minutes feels impossible. Start small, read 2 pages a day, write in a journal for 5 minutes, meditate for even 1 minute. Over time, your brain rewires and suddenly you're capable of deeper focus than you've ever had. Socially, healing also means cutting out people who keep you stuck in the same cycle. If all your friends only want to smoke, game, and gossip, you'll get pulled back into that energy every time. It doesn't mean you have to drop everyone, but you do need to be intentional about who you let influence you. Surround yourself with people chasing growth, even if that means finding new communities online or in real life. Healing isn't just personal, it's also about contribution. When you start giving to others, whether that's helping your family more, teaching your younger sibling something useful, or even sharing your progress with friends, you feel a deeper sense of purpose. Slowly, the identity shift happens. You're no longer the guy addicted to his phone or the kid who can't focus. You start to see yourself as someone disciplined, someone on the path. And when you start believing that identity, your actions begin to match. Rebuilding yourself is not about becoming perfect. It's about stacking small wins until your life feels completely different. And for the first time, you can look in the mirror and actually respect who you're becoming. Healing yourself doesn't mean you suddenly wake up one day and all your problems are gone. It means you've built the strength to handle life without falling back into the same traps that once controlled you. Living as the healed version of yourself is about identity, because the way you see yourself determines what actions you'll accept. If you still think of yourself as the kid who can't focus or the one who always quits, you'll fall back into that role. But if you shift into seeing yourself as someone disciplined, someone who values growth, then every decision starts to align with that. It's not about motivation anymore, it's about who you are. Healing becomes permanent when the new habits aren't things you force. They're just part of your normal life. You don't wake up debating if you should scroll TikTok for 3 hours because that's just not who you are anymore. You don't question whether you should go to the gym, you just go because that's your standard now. And of course, you'll still have tough days, but healed people don't chase comfort in the same way. Instead of numbing yourself with screens, you deal with the stress head on, maybe through journaling, going for a run, talking it out, or simply sitting with the discomfort. That's what real growth looks like, facing pain without needing an escape. Another part of living healed is having a vision. If you don't know where you're going, it's easy to slide back into old patterns. Set goals, not just about money or career, but about who you want to be 5 years from now. Do you want to be respected, disciplined, confident, surrounded by good people? Every small action you take daily is a vote for that version of you. Healing also means you start giving back. When you grow, it's natural to want to help others out of the same hole you were once in. Maybe it's a friend stuck in gaming addiction, maybe it's your younger sibling glued to their phone, maybe it's just being a living example of self-respect. The healed version of you becomes someone others can lean on, not someone who needs to be saved. In the end, healing yourself is not about becoming perfect or never slipping again, it's about becoming resilient. It's about knowing you're in control of your choices, not your cravings. And when you reach that point, you'll look back at the version of you who was addicted, lost, and numb, and you'll realize just how far you've come. And that feeling is what makes all the struggle worth it.